Hi guys, we're going to look at the systemic circulation. I'm going to draw you a flow chart for this. As you remember, the systemic circulation provides functional blood supply to all body tissues. That is, it's going to deliver oxygen, nutrients, and other needed substances while carrying away carbon dioxide and other metabolic waste. So to begin, we're going to draw the heart. Here we have the left ventricle and the left atrium. Inside here we're going to have freshly oxygenated blood returning from the pulmonary circuit is now going to be pumped out of the left ventricle into the aorta. Alright, so this is our aorta right here. And this is our aortic arch. From the aorta, blood can either take various routes. It can either go up towards the head and upper limbs, or it's going to go down towards the thorax and lower limbs. Essentially, this aorta is going to be the main vessel that's going to take all blood from the heart and send it out to different parts of the body. As I said, so the aorta can either arch up towards the heart, arch upwards from the heart and then curve around, or it can curve down towards the lower limb. As we follow this aorta traveling down, we're going to have some different areas in which the blood can flow. One important area that I'm going to draw on this diagram is the diaphragm. As we remember from lecture, diaphragm is the muscle that separates the abdominal and thoracic cavities. So this is going to be very important when we discuss how blood flows. As we have this blood flowing down, we have the aortic arch, and then above the diaphragm we have the thoracic aorta, and below we have the abdominal aorta. So the branches of the aorta continue to subdivide to produce arteries and finally the capillaries where the blood can exchange in the middle. Okay? So if the blood supply is needed for above the diaphragm, it's going to come from the superior vena cava on the way back to the right atrium. If it happens below the diaphragm, so the abdominal and lower limbs, it's going to happen from the inferior vena cava. Okay? So as we start to discuss this, we have one main area that we like to highlight, and that's our capillary bed. So this is going to be highlighted by the purple color. So this is where the red meets the blue, essentially. So this is where the interaction occurs, which are called our capillary beds. So we're going to have these at different locations depending on where our target is. These capillary beds are going to serve different functions, okay? So the capillary beds are all of the purple structures. The ones at the top are going to work for our head and upper limbs. The one in the middle is going to serve for our thorax. Below the diaphragm is going to serve for some of our organs, including our kidneys, our spleen, and our pancreas. Finally, we have our lower limb and pelvis capillaries. After the blood goes through the capillaries beds, they will then start to make its transition back to the heart. Okay, so we're going to draw the rest of the heart here. So we have our right atrium and our right ventricle. And blood's going to be coming into the heart through the right atrium. Okay, so if we're leaving the capillary beds for the head and the upper limb, it's basically come down, wrap around, and insert back. So it's going to be traveling this way, and this is going to be called our superior vena cava. As I said before, Blood above the diaphragm is going to return to the heart through the superior vena cava. Blood that is going to go through capillary beds below the diaphragm is going to go through our inferior vena cava. So out there is our location. And this blood's going to flow upwards towards the right atrium. And then also entering the right atrium we have our inferior vena cava, which is going to run along this pathway. So it's going to stop here and it's going to go there. So again, flow that way and then up. So this is called our inferior vena cava. So this is a quick schematic flow chart showing the overview of the systemic circulation. I really want to emphasize the capillary beds and making sure that you understand how the aorta and the vena cava send and receive blood throughout the body. What I now need you to do is take this information from this video and use this to create your own diagram. So what I highly suggest is using this information to recreate your own systemic circulation flow chart. Thanks.